Hi everyone, I hope you're enjoying World Cardmaking Day. Um, my name is Robyn Rasset and I've been a demonstrator for about 7 years. I live 35 miles west of the Twin Cities on a farm. So today I am going to share with you some ideas for the Trimming the Town Suite. So the Trimming the Town Suite can be found in the August to December 2020 mini catalog, and it's on page 24 through page 26. And it consists of, the designer series paper pack, the stamp set and dies, some embellishments, some ribbon, and of special note, this stamp set is actually for every stamp set that you buy or that's purchased, there's $3 that gets donated to charities devoted to children's things like adoption, foster care, and infertility. So it's the Making a Difference stamp set for this year. So I always like to buy that stamp set. I don't know, it makes me feel good to help others while I'm busy enjoying myself. So one thing I do want to make you aware of, this shows you which colors are in the designer series paper. So it's a great start for your card base and the cardstock you're going to use. So let me just share with you a little bit larger view of the paper. So here's the paper, and you can see that the one side is scenes and larger graphics. A lot of these houses and the wreaths can be cut out with the matching dies. And then the back side is all, more just pattern paper, except for this one. And you'll see it's all words. So, and here's the stamp set called Coming Home. And you'll see that it has the 4 houses and a couple little pine trees and then a bare deciduous tree. Has this cute little foofy that you can use for smoke coming out of the chimney or from the car, and some little snowflakes. And it is a clear photopolymer set, so lining up everything is really simple with this stamp set. And then the matching dies, you can see that you can cut out all the houses, all 3 of the trees and the car. And then it has these swooshies. One has pine trees on it and the other is just plain, that you can use for creating backgrounds. And then there are these additional 2 little houses that don't have stamp sets, and a little star and heart that cut out when you cut those. So lots and lots of options. Not necessarily just Christmas. I mean, you could use this stamp set for a new baby, a new home, someone who's coming home, like a welcome home to a service member, just all kinds of things that you could use this for when you add it with some other greetings. So let's go ahead and get started crafting. So here's the first card we're going to make today. Now this is a fairly simple card. It's stamping and coloring. So there's no die cutting involved on any of this. Now I have added an extra stamp set. This is the Itty Bitty Christmas Greetings. Here we go. Itty Bitty Christmas. And this is a great set to pair up with the Coming Home set, because it's all Christmas greetings. So when I start stamping this, you'll notice that I've put 2 of the houses together, and you may be wondering how I did that. It's fairly simple. We're going to start by stamping the one that's in the front. And we're just going to go ahead and place that house on here. And you will notice that I'm using a panel here, and I'm going to put the panel onto the card base. You can stamp directly onto the card base. The reason I'm doing that is because I like to use Stampin' Blends to color, and they tend to bleed through on the back and it looks funny. You know, it shows up on the inside of your card. So that's why I have that. So you're going to stamp that, and then you're going to stamp on a Post-it note a second house, and then you are going to go ahead and layer that on top of there, and this is your mask. Now for our second step, we're going to use the biggest house. We'll go ahead and ink it up. And now this is the only tricky part about this, is we have to line up the bottom of this new stamp with this one. And it's a little bit hard when I don't want to put my head in the camera. So I might not get it exactly straight. I like to stand up kind of over it when I'm stamping like this. But these photopolymer stamps do make it fairly easy to see. And let's see how we came out. Pretty darn good. So then you're gonna stamp your other images on here and color everything. But I did want to show you one other thing that I did on this one. For the trees, I used the old olive, and I went ahead and stamped the trees. Okay, and then I took a blender pen, and these come in a pack of 3. They're kind of fun to play with. And then I just pulled the ink from the tree that I'd stamped and colored the trees that way. Now you do need to work fairly quickly after you stamp an image in order to be able to pull the ink in yet. You don't want to like stamp it and walk away. You want to stamp and then do your blending right away. Now another thing that you can do to get a similar effect to this, and I didn't use it on this card, but you can use a Wink of Stella pen, which is it's a glitter pen, and basically do that same thing. It'll pull your ink in, but it'll make your tree glitter. So I think that's about all I can tell you for this card. And then everything I colored in on this one, as I said, was done with Stampin' Blends. And I'm not going to sit here and color. I think you all know how to do that. So now I've taken this same card. I'm going to stick this little guy back in there. And to step it up just a little bit, if you want to use the dies, now I've added some cutouts. So rather than masking, I've cut out the little square house, and I've cut out the car, and I've popped them up with dimensionals. Other than I used a little bit different colors, this is the same card. I cut this down to 3 3/4 by 5, and then I added a layer of the Designer Series paper. This is one of the back sides, and that is cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So basically the same card, just added a few more pop-ups and die cuts. Now here is a third version of that, basically same card again. You can see I've got the house in the middle and the car, the same elements, except for this one I've now done a layer of cardstock and then a layer of Designer Series paper. I've added the pine trees I've done as die cuts instead of stamping them direct, and then I've stamped both pieces of the house onto separate pieces of paper and die cut them. The car is die cut. I moved the greeting down to here, and then I cut out some little people. I don't know if you can see this. These are little fussy cut people, and let me tell you, you're only going to do those for someone you really love. So if you get a card from me with little fussy cut people, you know that I really love you. And then I did add on this one some of the snow banks that are that long swishy die. So I've got a couple of those in there. So you can see you can take the same card basically, you know, and add as much or as little fun extras as you want. Now, here I made the card a baby card. I added this die is the I believe it's called Well Written. Everything is glued flat. I've added some seam binding ribbon, put a bow on it, and these are both pieces of the designer series paper. And actually, this house is the designer series paper. This is one of the houses that you can cut out using the matching dies. Now here is a non-Christmassy card that you can make using this. This die does not have any stamp that matches it, but it's so darn cute. So just cut out 3 of them in different colors, switch up the mix and match the hearts, give it a piece of the seam binding ribbon. I did heat emboss with white embossing powder for the greeting. Super cute. And that also was cased from Susan. Here's another one that I cased from Susan. She had such cool ideas. Very simple card again. We've used the die that cuts out the little trees and the snow. Put a piece of the snowflake designer paper here, and then I added another swirly bit of snow to give it a little bit of dimension. I did not raise anything with dimensionals on this one just because it's easier to mail, and I was thinking this would be a good you know, make a bunch of them to mail. The greeting is from the designer series paper. Got the little car with the exhaust. Now here's another one where I've used the tree cutouts, the die. This house I decided I didn't want to color, I didn't want to stamp. I just cut it out and then added one of the greetings on top of it with a piece of ribbon. This is another one of the papers flipped, you know, on the just the multi design side, and then added some little embellishments here and the star up there. So pretty simple card. Now this one is probably one of my favorites. A couple things I want to point out. For the windows, if you don't like to color, I love to color, so I don't mind doing that, but I know some of my customers don't like to color. You can go ahead and stamp and die cut the houses out of colored paper, and then take a Stampin' Write, or I'm sorry, the Stampin' Chalk marker, and go ahead and white the windows. I love to keep these around for things like that. And then I've just cut the snowbanks and done 2 of them, one each direction. Kind of tucked this house into the snowbanks. Added one of the trees here. It's layered onto espresso, and then with the soft suede background and the trees. This was probably my favorite card. But I'm kind of a Northwoods girl. Now this card is actually cased right out of the catalog. The one in the catalog, if you see here, it's actually the other direction. I loved the way that they sponged around the edges and made it kind of look like night was coming in. So I went ahead and did that, did the sponging with the Misty Moonlight. And then I have three layers of die cuts for the house. So I've used three different ones. These are die cut, and then everything's colored with the Stampin' Blends. And the Merry Christmas is actually from the Poinsettia Petals stamp set. And then this one I decided to do a pop-up card in the center. So it's got another layer inside, and then I put some paper on top of that. Oops, we don't need that there. And then the greetings are once again from the Itty Bitty Christmas set. And then I added the let's see, can you see it this way? I just made some slots in the paper, popped them out, and then added some houses. Last year I purchased the Countdown to Christmas, which is like an advent calendar, and of course I didn't get it made. So I saw another demonstrator had used this fun, it's like the whole scenery page of the designer series paper, and it was actually pretty easy. It took a little time. I had to cut all these into 2x2 squares and keep them all, you know, organized so I didn't mix them up like a puzzle. But used the liquid glue to attach them, and now I need to go back and maybe add a few gems or and of course the numbers. So I hope that this has given you some ideas for today to use the Trimming the Town suite of products.